Hello, this is Malcolm McDowell. In a world built on stories where heroes rise, villains fall, and meaning hides between the frames, one podcast has dared to explore it all. From galaxies far away to quiet corners of small-town coffee houses, they've sought the truth hidden in pop culture's pulse. The laughter, the light, and the lessons buried beneath the spectacle. This is Pop Culture Pastor.
Pop Culture Pastor.
All right, Cody. Some days, Cody, you just rejoice. You just celebrate.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like a long lost friend has come home. When the news hits you, you're just like, man, this is going to be a good day, week, month even.
Maybe even year.
And I'm saying that because the Toxic Mom Group story is back in the news, baby.
Oh, that one will never die.
You thought you were done. You're never done. The Toxic Mom Group back in the news. It's funny how it keeps getting back in the news, too. We'll talk about it.
I don't know why it does.
So, first of all, I should say Lance Burnett is here.
Yes. Lance
Burnett is a middle school choir teacher.
Yes, and to answer everybody's question, I am crazy.
And he's crazy. And
that's always the question I get when I tell them I'm a middle school teacher. They're like, "Oh, are you crazy?" Yeah, I am.
I've been in that middle school. I have PTSD to this day.
We'll pray for you.
Yeah, but Lance is also a huge Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
We are going to review Mandalorian and Grogu later, and we wanted a really big Star Wars fan here because Cody and I, although we've been Star Wars fans, huge Star Wars fans at some point in our life, we're hit and miss now. We kind of go through the not motions, but we kind of go through the ups and downs of it all.
Well, I know Lance knows way more about Star Wars and has probably forgotten more about Star Wars than I ever knew.
And that, if it's okay with Lance, he's going to be our Star Wars geek.
I'm going to try.
Of the round table. So
I won't be perfect, so grace is needed, but I'll try.
But first, you may, if you've listened to this podcast for any stretch, you may know that we've talked an awful lot about, back in January, Ashley Tisdale of High School Musical fame called
Sharpay.
out.
Oh, now we're talking.
She called out her celebrity mom group in a blog, a published blog that had quote ugly, mean girl behavior in a post on her blog, and it was published in The Cut, which is apparently some online venue, but she didn't name names. Okay.
Well, that was polite.
Social media, though, filled in the blanks over the coming weeks or the weeks after that. And kind of figured out that it was Mandy Moore, Meghan Trainor, Hillary Duff, and all their reactions essentially confirmed it. They all reacted to it, even though Tisdale's rep has denied it the whole time. So as far as we know from Ashley Tisdale's camp, she's never confirmed nor denied that anyone in this group. She just published the blog.
This could be a work of fiction. We don't know.
This is important information. I just want to make sure everyone gets this before we get into this. But the accused have responded steadily ever since. Trainor famously did a TikTok making kind of light of it. Hers was kind of neutral. But she was just kind of making fun of like the finding out that you'd been talked about online, blah, blah, blah. Hillary Duff, her husband, especially Matthew Coma, who by some stretch has appeared. We've talked about this dude twice on the show. I don't even know who this dude is. We've talked about him twice on this podcast.
He likes to talk about celebrity gossip.
Side note, I think it's hilarious because in the news from this, at times, Hillary Duff has talked about her husband, Matthew Coma. Of course, she's going to be complimentary. Also, Mandy Moore has said he's like the nicest guy in the world. And I'm like, the nicest guy in the world who uses his social media to make fun of people?
Yes, because it was Candace Cameron Bure.
Who had no beef with him. He just like lambasted her.
Yeah. So
like, okay, all right, I'll take your word for it.
He has become relevant on our pod over a couple of years.
Yeah. But Duff herself on the Call Her Daddy podcast. And now we have Mandy Moore. And the article, this is interesting. The article I'm coming from is framing it as Mandy Moore finally addressing it.
I thought she already had.
She did, because we talked about it. It was back in January, but she didn't use names.
Okay.
But she clearly addressed it. She spoke about it in January, again on Andy Cohen last week, or a few days before the Today Show appearance, and then she appeared on Today. So the real story isn't that she's addressed it. The real story, in my opinion, is this group of women have not stopped addressing it. 5 months later, and they're still bringing it up on their press circuits, okay? I just want to make sure we all get that. So here's what she said. She leaned hard into Community, said she feels, quote, lucky and surprised by how meaningful her mom friendships are. And she pushed back on the idea that women are petty and out to one-up each other. Like, okay, I believe you.
Yeah, I didn't think all women were like that. I think that there's probably men and women like that in the world, though. I don't know if we can do broad sweeping generalizations.
That was a safe statement, Cody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have thoughts, and I think you already know where I'm going, but I'm gonna save them. On Andy Cohen, a few days back, she got sharper, saying that having her, quote, legacy of kindness questioned, cut to the core. I want to remind everyone, the blog did not mention any names. Like, if none of them responded to any of it, this goes away.
I would never know.
Like, who cares if a few people on social media thought they figured it out? That happens every day. They think they have, that figured out that there's lizard people too. People on the internet are goofballs.
So what you're saying is these are the actions of people who feel guilty about something?
Maybe. I don't know. I think that's up for debate too. Do they feel guilt at all?
They're Hollywood. I don't know.
Yeah. She continued and said, wouldn't have handled the situation this way. She wouldn't have handled the situation this way, apparently meaning the way Ashley Tisdale did it, which, that's fair. Like, if the blog is actually about this group, which it seems like it probably is, I mean, it's nobody is saying Ashley Tisdale handled this well, okay? Here's the interesting tension here, Cody, that I kind of want to get at. The narrative war.
Okay.
One person wrote a blog one time. They spoke one time. 5+ people have responded since then across blogs, podcasts, TikTok, and morning shows for the last 5 months. Tisdale's side has stayed mostly quiet. Her rep didn't even respond to Today's request for a comment. So Today asked her for a comment when they knew Mandy was going to talk about it. They declined. They said, no, thanks. So who actually is winning the narrative here? And does volume equal truth?
I would guess the group of people are actually probably winning the narrative just because they were bigger names to begin with than Ashley Tisdale.
Right.
So they have more fans, yada, yada, but they also have spoken the loudest where like you had to read Ashley Tisdale's comments and she didn't list names. Yeah, I would say the group of people are winning it. But that doesn't mean that they are necessarily honest self-reporters.
Yeah.
Because I will say that a lot of us have a blind spot towards our own limitations or weaknesses. And if we have a group of people that are like us and someone feels maybe excluded and thinks a little bit differently, does things a little bit differently, we quickly latch on to the narrative that this group of people says I'm right. Must mean I'm right.
Yeah. Lance, have you heard anything about this? Has this been on your radar at all?
This is the first I've heard of it. I do feel proud that I recognize all those names except for the husband's name. Yeah, I didn't know that guy.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't either. We wouldn't either if we haven't on 2 separate occasions talked about how he made fun of someone online with his social media.
Yes.
And he only has a platform because of who he's married to. Let's be honest.
See, Lance said it.
Let's be honest.
I just hinted at it before.
I mean, let's be honest. So and I'm gonna. This is dangerous because I know this is your show, but I'm gonna disagree with Cody. I feel like because they've been pushing back for the last 5 months, they've actually validated what she said, even though she didn't mention any names to begin with. The fact that she spoke once, she's like the Ugnaught from the Mandalorian series, right? I have spoken. You know that guy who
Yeah.
he would finish, I have spoken, and then just walk off.
Yeah.
Right? That's what she did. She just threw that out there, didn't say any names, and then all of a sudden there's this hornet's nest got stirred up. They all responded, and they kept on responding. And so people always refer back to her original post or whatever it was, which, again, you know, I mean, bad press is still press, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't disagree. But I do think a lot of people think more superficially.
Yep.
And
See,
so that's where, like, the superficialness of it all in the society that just consumes snippets and tidbits
Yeah.
of headlines will probably latch on to
so
that.
I was about to say, I think you're both right. I think Cody's right because if Cody wasn't right, then politicians wouldn't be a thing.
That's true.
But all these politicians are a thing, and people believe all sorts of things about these politicians and the things politicians say.
Oh, yeah.
And that's because, yes, there's a large chunk of us, and I'll say us, I'll include myself in this large group of people.
It's Dave's
that
fault.
take sound bites. we intake sound bites like
Yeah.
TikTok and Reels and things like that, and then we call it information.
Yeah.
factual.
And we
Yeah.
don't even understand how much of influencer culture has used those tidbits of information to sensationalize something and then influence us with it.
Okay.
So Cody on that hand's right. Now, for the thinking people in the room, Lance is right.
Why did you just gesture to me when you did that? I would be insulted if I were you.
I am slightly.
No.
Slightly.
He said thinking people in the room, and he pointed to me. He didn't point to you.
I should say you're right. I should state that clearer. I believe Cody's a thinking person, but in this argument, he's representing like what he thinks is going on out in the world.
See what you did there.
Yes.
Cody's a thinking man.
He has his thinking cap on.
Yeah.
I do have my thinking cap on.
But yeah, I think that's what happened. Mandy Moore says her whole identity is being a kind person, and that's what got wounded.
Oh,
And I think exactly.
that's sad.
Is there something off about having to defend your kindness this loudly this many times?
So I honestly, before this incident, if you would have asked me, I would have said, you know, she's just a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Super kind. But that comment now gives me the icks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yucky.
At what
I don't
point,
like this.
At what point does protesting the accusation start to undercut? Right? It's like your kids, though. Or like, okay, let's put it this way. One of them might write a book soon, probably be Hillary Duff. I wasn't toxic toward Ashley Tisdale, but if I was, this is how I would have done it by Hillary Duff.
If I was.
She's going to write the OJ book. But like, cause what I'm left with is this idea of, sure seems like you guys are kind of toxic. You can't stop talking about it.
Yeah.
She's not talking. Ashley Tisdale is not talking about it. She wrote one blog that nobody would have read. Matthew Coma fixed that.
Yeah. Maybe they were really, really close, and this jab in the back really hurt Mandy Moore.
Yeah.
She can't move on.
Why do you think Ashley wrote that?
I think probably because there's some truth to it. She probably got her feelings hurt. And this is what I would end it with, is saying there's two things that can be true here. One, that Ashley Tisdale didn't handle it well. That writing an anonymous blog or sort of a blog with anonymous features when you're accusing someone wasn't the way to handle it. But also, too, that mom group probably was a little toxic. And that's not like, look, we're all a little toxic. We all are broken in some way and don't handle things the best way we could. And I think she's like, I tend to believe, looking at the behavior since then, that she probably had a point, that group probably didn't like Ashley and didn't handle it well. And so it was a bad split and it hurt her feelings. And so she did the only thing she felt she had power in was writing a blog, which probably shouldn't have done that, especially being celebrities, quote unquote. But like, if I was any of these people's publicists, I'd be like, quit talking about it.
She was in an episode of Sons of Anarchy.
Who? Mandy Moore?
Ashley Tisdale.
Oh, Ashley Tisdale.
Yeah, don't just limit her to High School Musical.
Yes, for sure. But people, like you said yourself, Mandy Moore is like America's sweetheart. Like, don't say anything. Just let it go. She's still gonna be American. Everyone's gonna think she's sweet.
I'm sure Sandra Bullock has done something off-putting in her life, but yet we view her as a sweetheart as well.
Let me tell you something about Sandra Bullock. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, I love these kind of stories, not because of the salaciousness of it or the sensational, like the National Enquirer of it. I actually love these stories because I love looking at our behavior. And I say our behavior because I'm not putting myself above these ladies and Matthew Coma. I realize that in my own dealings, I can be harsh on somebody, judgmental, be rude if I'm in the wrong mood. So I'm not putting myself above these people. I love looking at this sort of thing and just pointing out like, hey, we can all do this. Let's do better.
Amen.
It's a good message.
All right. We saw Mandalorian and Grogu. We're going to go talk about it, review it. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, Dave here. Real quick, before we get into this, we're about to spoil this movie, like all of it, because this is a movie review episode of this podcast. If you haven't seen it yet and you don't want it ruined, go watch it first and come back. We'll be here. But if you're good, let's get into it. This is a movie review on the Pop Culture Pastor podcast. All right, we are back. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Yeah. We saw Mandalorian and Grogu this weekend, and we've come together to talk about it. Myself, I'm Dave, because this is the Pop Culture Pastor podcast, and Cody, and our friend Lance.
Hello.
He is the Star Wars guy at this table.
Thank you.
I would say our Star Wars fandom is more casual. Cody
Yes.
and I's. So we knew we needed someone at this table who was a big Star Wars fan.
Now, who did you meet at Planet Comic-Con this year?
Oh, Timothy Zahn.
Oh, the
So-
Heir to the Empire.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the new Thrawn series, and just a phenomenal. He's the one who got me into reading. You know, I mean, I was into Star Wars, and then he came out with these books, and I didn't read before that. And then all of a sudden I'm reading these novels. So
Yeah. And you're my age. So
Yeah.
like the EU, that was a big deal.
Huge.
So last episode we did a Be Kind rewind on The Empire Strikes Back. And
Okay.
I did mention and talk about this idea that like it would be foreign to young people today, where we went like 15 years
Yeah.
without any more like movies, things, TV.
You just had to
anything like
make
that.
stuff up. That's why
Yeah.
we bought toys.
But the EU was going on, the extended universe. People were
Yes.
writing these stories,
Yes.
and
So many stories.
they took place after Return of the Jedi and the movies we got. And then we finally got the special editions and the re-releases in theaters, which I also said I was thankful for because I didn't get to see the first two in theaters in the original
Yep.
showings. So for me to be sit in a theater and watch episode 4, New Hope, and episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, with a theater full of people,
That's cool.
that was an experience I
Yeah.
had never got to have. So
Weird story. Both my parents, who are not like movie goers, when they were kids, watched the first Star Wars movie in theaters.
well, right. It was 1977. What else were they going to do?
No, so like my mom grew up on a farm, so like it was not their thing.
Well, but
No.
she probably related to Luke Skywalker.
Probably
He grew up on a farm.
but no, her best friend was going to go watch Star Wars and was like, "Oh, Leanne, you should go." And so, yes, my mom, who knows nothing about pop culture, knows nothing about Star Wars. She
Yeah.
knows the first movie because we were talking about Yoda, and she's like, "He wasn't in Star Wars." And I'm like, "Well, not that first movie. You're correct." So.
Yeah.
So, but that first one was just groundbreaking. I mean, wasn't it in theaters for like a year?
Well,
Or something
yeah.
like that. But
Yeah.
you know, nowadays movies are in theaters for maybe a couple weeks, maybe 3 if they're really good. I mean, it was literally for an entire year. You
Well-
could go to the theater and watch it.
Even through the 80s. It
Yeah.
was not abnormal for especially your early summer blockbuster movies that
Yeah.
would come out in like late May. It was not unheard of for those to be in there like early fall still,
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 month runs.
Yeah, it was a different time. Okay, so since we're the same age, you obviously probably Did you stand in line for episode 1 tickets when it came out?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
We stood in line for first night
Yeah.
showings of
Yeah.
all 3 prequels.
Yeah, I won tickets on a radio drawing because I was in college, and they would give these hints for places where the radio DJ would be located. And if you were like the first one there, you got these free tickets. Oh, so I busted it to get there. I got these free tickets. And do you remember when like people cheered? You know, when the title came on and the music and just the crowd cheers. It's like, I've never been to any movie like this.
No, it went nuts. The place went nuts as soon as the crawl started.
So cool.
Yeah, or not even the crawl, but as soon as a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, before the music even starts.
Oh, yeah.
That comes up on the screen. Everyone goes nuts.
I did not go, so I don't know.
Yeah, those were
the days.
Those were incredible theater experiences, really,
Yep.
looking back on it. That I kind of miss. I think the only thing in the modern era that comes close is maybe like the in-game moment when the heroes come back through the portals and Cap catches Thor's hammer and says
cool.
the Avengers Assemble moment.
Yeah.
That's probably the closest we can come now, but
Yeah.
all right. Mandalorian and Grogu, directed by Jon Favreau. We got Favreau and Filoni
So good.
writing. Dave Filoni, Noah
Filoni
Core.
was in it too. Do you see him a couple times
Yeah.
with the hat?
Yeah, he cameos. He's one of the X-Wing pilots.
Yeah.
We got Pedro Pascal as Din Djarin, Grogu as himself, according to the credits. That's cute. Sigourney Weaver as Colonel
Yeah,
Ward.
that was a big name. Oh
and
my gosh.
Jeremy Allen White as Rada the Hutt, the
Okay.
voice.
So little tidbit, since you're talking about names, did you notice that not once in that movie did anybody say or refer to the Mandalorian as Din Djarin?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just Mando.
Yeah,
Just Mando.
nobody. And I feel like I read something that said that's the first movie ever where the lead, like the title character, the lead name, that person's name was never said in the movie.
That checks out.
Right?
Yeah.
No other movie has done that where you got this the title character, this their name, and it's never said in the entire movie.
Yeah. I think that's one of the bummer parts of season 3 of The Mandalorian. While it's cool to get all that explored, the kind of the Mandalorian lore, to have all those Mandalorians that are in it, kind of takes away from this idea of like, oh, this is a destroyed culture, that there are very few of them left, and that like,
Yeah, but there weren't a lot of them.
yeah, I know, but it gives you the feeling like there's lots of them because they're all in the one place most of the time. You got the armor and, the 3 girl Mandalorians, and then you've got all these other Mandalorians who are like training. You know what I'm saying? It just felt like there was a lot of them.
All right.
Well, you got to remember that we're in a galaxy far, far away, and that if they're just all located in this one spot, then they're not dispersed across the galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that kind of brings it back down to being a small sect or religion.
Okay. Yeah. Music by Ludwig Göransson. Runtime approximately 2 hours. PG-13 and $165 million budget. That does not account, of course, the marketing. But the 165 makes it the cheapest Disney era Star Wars film.
Really?
Yes. So while we'll talk about a lot of things maybe in the change in structure of Lucasfilm with Kathleen Kennedy on her way out, Dave Filoni in charge, I think this is probably the biggest thing to look at as far as what might be different.
Yeah.
A lot more. There was some practical, like Grogu's all practical puppet effects, things like that. So, yeah. We're recording this as a Sunday afternoon. I think it made maybe 125 million worldwide in its first up to right now.
Just the first couple of days.
So it's probably going to be around that number. So still under budget after week 1. I don't know. I don't even know what that means. It's not going to be a super big hit, but I don't think it's a bomb either.
No.
Okay. So this is the first theatrical Star Wars film in 7 years. The last was Rise of Skywalker in December 2009. That alone kind of makes this a moment. That was a long time to wait for fans of any IP these days. And
it flew by fast for me, but you can imagine for a kid, it probably was forever. But that being said, there's been so much stuff on Disney Plus. So if you've got Disney Plus, we've kind of been inundated throughout those 7 years.
Yeah. Well, this is a good way. This is probably a good way to segue into your fandom.
Oh.
Because I want to ask you about where you're at with Star Wars. So obviously you're my age. You grew up with Star Wars. You love the OT.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of tell us about how you got into Star Wars. what the origin of it was, and then I'll ask you other questions after that.
I mean, I guess I got into it. So I was born in 1977, the year that A New Hope came out. And I got into it because that was just... So it was Star Wars, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and then He-Man, Master of the Universe. Like, those were the big four things that I was into. And I had toys for all of them.
It's like I'm looking in the mirror right now. Yeah.
You know?
Lance is horrified. Whoa.
But it's just... That was the popular thing. And Star Wars was just... The story behind it was so amazing. And so I had a lot of the toys. I had the Ewok Village. You know, I remember Christmas getting the Ewok Village, and the speeder bike was like my favorite toy. I thought the speeder bike was so cool. And then as soon as I could get the VHS cassette tapes, I got the cassette tape. I bought it from Blockbuster Video, and I just watched them over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then of course we got into the novels. They came out because you were hungry for anything Star Wars related.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what it was. If it was out there, I was reading it. I never actually got into the Star Wars role-playing game. I never got into that. But that had an effect on... Because I think that's where the Arabesh writing came from, was the Star Wars role-playing games. You know that?
What is Arabesh?
So it's basically where they took all the letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, and then they gave them their own symbols.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So it's a language.
Yeah, it's not a language. It's symbols. It's symbols basically for all the different letters of the alphabet. And so if you look at the movies that they went and redid, they switched all the English words. Like, so instead of it saying power on the Death Star, they went back and digitally replaced it with the Arabic letters for POWER.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's it's a whole symbol thing. So all of the lettering in Star Wars now is in Arabic, and you can't read it. Like, I mean, some people can. I know a few letters. I have not spent enough. I'm not that hardcore that I can actually read in the Star Wars script. But there's apps where you can get the font and everything, and so that's pretty cool. Actually, side note, I did read this. One of the places, the signs had the words Creed Apollo on them, in reference to Carl Weathers, who obviously, rest in peace, Carl. That's the one thing I felt was missing from this movie. Like, his character, Grief Karga, in the Mandalorian series was just awesome.
Yeah.
He brought so much weight and strength and gravitas to the series that when he passed away, I was like, oh man, we lost a good one.
So the prequels come out. And you're probably very excited about them.
Yeah.
I think we all were at that time, our age. And really gives rise to the culture we have now of like what I would call spoiler culture. Leak culture. Because it gives rise to all these websites like Ain't It Cool News, because like the internet is very young at this time when it's in development, and everybody trying to get all these leaks and spoilers, any kind of clues on what we could get that these movies were going to feature other than what we knew, which was it was going to be about Anakin Skywalker, and his fall from grace. And so you waited in line, camped out probably.
Yeah.
And
for all three, episode 1, 2, and 3.
And so where do the prequels sit for you? As far as like, I assume you love them.
It's a love-hate relationship, to be honest, because, I love the fact that George Lucas went back and explored the origins of a lot of things, to be honest. The origins of Anakin, how he became Darth Vader. One of my favorite parts was just Ewan McGregor starring as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Phenomenal actor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, that, to me, is the best part of the prequels, is watching Obi-Wan Kenobi develop as a person. And then, of course, they came out with the series with Disney Plus, which was just even better. I love that series, but then there's just some things in it. George Lucas probably should have hired some writers to help with the dialogue. I hate sand. It's rough. Gets everywhere. Not like you. Come on, George.
We talked quite a bit about it in our last episode where we Be Kind rewind with Empire Strikes Back, which of course is not written by Lucas.
Yeah.
Lucas is in charge of the overall story, but he's got 2 screenwriters that help him out, and he doesn't direct either.
Right.
And that's the best one that by the vote of most people. And so
it's at the top.
Yeah, I think
of my list.
I think there's something there. But yeah, when I look back at the prequels, I think, I enjoyed them for what they were.
Yes.
But for me, they're not quite as magical as the original trilogy. Now, I do know that millennials who grew up with the prequels.
Yes.
That's not that way. In
No.
fact, I just found this out recently where most millennials or even Gen Z, you ask them what their favorite Star Wars movie, they'll be like Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. Well, I've got a former student who says Episode 1 is his favorite.
The Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
I know quite a few people that are Phantom Menace.
And the whole Hatchet order, which is basically like, nope, get rid of that one. Don't even watch it kind of a thing. Yeah. But yeah, it's his favorite one. I mean, the pod racing's pretty cool. Let's be honest.
You can't get rid of Phantom Menace. We also did a Be Kind Rewind on that one. And we've determined that like the lightsaber battle at the end might be the best lightsaber battle in all of Star
people
Wars.
cheered. People cheered for that scene.
So it's a weird movie when you look at it and you say, oh, wow, you've got like some of the best stuff, but then it's got it had some other stuff.
The best villain in Darth Maul, who they killed off, but then of course, Disney brought him back. But yeah, there's that, and then of course Jar Jar Binks is a little bit silly. I think it's because George Lucas was writing it for little kids, to be honest. If he had been writing it for the fans, like for the people our age, of course at the time I was, what was I, 18, 19, 20, I think, something like that. Anyway, if he'd been writing it for us, I think it would have been different. I feel like he kind of wrote it towards or geared it for kids.
Right, yeah.
And he explained too much. Well, that too. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the first time a Star Wars story has jumped from a streaming series to a theatrical film. It's essentially season 4 of The Mandalorian, which a lot of critics have pointed out.
That's a good way to look at it.
Disney Plus subscribers don't get a discount, though. They still got to buy their ticket. And critics have leaned hard into this because the recurring line that you see in a lot of the critiques is it's 3 good enough TV episodes kind of smashed together, and the word generic shows up a lot.
Jabronis.
So, what I want to ask you, Lance, is in the narrative we're building here of your fandom.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Disney stuff, where are you with that? You said you liked Kenobi.
Yeah.
I assume you're a huge fan of The Mandalorian because for my money, I think The Mandalorian TV series was probably the best thing Disney has done with Star Wars.
Oh yeah, and a lot of the stuff coming after it, they were trying to emulate or get the same response that people gave to Mandalorian. So like the Acolyte, Andor, all that stuff was, how can we build on this? How can we make it similar to, so that people really enjoy it? And I thought the Andor series was really good. It was gritty. It kind of got into that underbelly of the Star Wars that you don't normally see. Acolyte was fine. It was cool for what it was, which was you get to see kind of Jedis and Sith and that side of it, Kenobi was amazing, obviously, and then Mandalorian, fantastic. Yeah, so I think Disney's been doing a pretty good job, but I do feel like we're starting to get a little bit much. I know that's weird to say because when we were younger, I was like, give me more, give me more, give me more, and now I'm like, I only have so much time in the day. My life has other things that I have to do. Remember when it used to be like you would sit down and you would watch all 3 Star Wars movies in one go?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That was the thing. You would get your friends together and it would just watch all 3 in one day. Well, then the prequels came out, and then it was like, all right, I don't know if we can watch all 6 of these.
We'll skip Attack of the Clones. We'll watch just the cool parts.
It's not possible to watch all 9. It's just so sometimes too much of a good thing.
And then you throw Rogue One in. And then,
all the individual
that's a good one,
movies.
too.
Oh,
that
yes.
was phenomenal.
Yeah, okay. So first thoughts, you're walking out of the theater, Cody, of The Mandalorian and Grogu this weekend. What were your initial thoughts, just in a broad way?
That was fun.
Yeah. I
enjoyed it.
I think that's pretty universal. Like, I feel like you'd have to be trying pretty hard to just hate it. Yeah.
I left with a smile on my face, which I cannot say that about every Star Wars movie I have seen in theaters.
That's definitely true.
So, yeah, this one met my expectations.
Yeah. What about you, Lance? Walking out of the theater, how'd you feel?
Smiling, immediately thinking I need to go watch it again because, I can only remember so much about it.
Yeah.
And there's just lots of details I'd like to see over again.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're ready for what's good. So who would like to go first? Cody?
I got one thing.
Okay. One thing?
Well, I got more than one thing, but I'll start with
we'll
one
alternate.
thing.
We'll go clockwise here.
I'm going with the cast. Pedro still delivers as Mando because we don't know what his real name is based off this movie, so we just call him Mando.
Din Djarin.
No, it's Mando. Sigourney Weaver, that was a big get.
Yeah, that was huge.
That's like super intentional too, because you put Sigourney Weaver back in sci-fi, and really an 80s feeling sci-fi, because Star Wars always is. And it's like, oh, could you imagine that someday, like if you were a kid in the 80s and they said someday they're going to bring Sigourney Weaver in to be a character, you'd have gone crazy.
Yeah. She did a great job. And then Jeremy Allen White, Rhoda the Hutt, or Buff Hutt, as I like to call him.
Definitely not Pizza the Hutt.
No. But no, I thought that the main people did a great job. And then you had like all the cute animal creature feature stuff going on. And even Marty Scorsese did a great job.
Yeah.
That was funny.
So great cameo, by the way.
It was cinema.
Yeah. Our friend Marty Scorsese.
With the bushy eyebrows.
And the alien had the bushy eyebrows. Yeah. Everything about that scene was great, by the way. I wanted more Marty.
I hope he comes back.
Yeah. Lance, what was something that was good for you?
So I felt like they did a really good job of kind of immersing the audience in the Star Wars universe world without adding in any of the main characters. You know, for a while, like if it was Star Wars, it had to have Luke, Leia, Han, Chewbacca. And it's nice to just have a movie that's not about any of those people. It's about other people in the Star Wars universe, because there is other people in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. What?
And it's so you kind of felt like, okay, it's like now I get to see this side of it, this side of the Republic, and like the base or whatever on the island. That was so cool. I kind of had flashbacks to kind of like a Top Gun Maverick feel to it, I guess a little bit.
There was some of that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just very realistic in a sense that you could watch that and go, this could be a real place. This seems like a real place. And just all the different locations, it wasn't so often, I think, the series plays off of what worked before. You know, like, oh, look, it's another hot planet with only sand on it where Rey's from, and she has force powers, and she's abandoned by her parents, and wait, where have we seen that before? You know, but a lot of this movie was not that. Yeah, I felt like.
Yeah, it was very different.
Yeah.
And I'll piggyback on to that idea, because what I want to say was good was the music. So Ludwig Göransson does something I would have thought impossible before this. He makes something that sounds decidedly un-John Williams.
Yes.
And un-Star Wars.
Yes.
And somehow it's not disappointing at all.
No.
In fact, I didn't miss it. In fact, it's so in line with the character of the show, The Mandalorian. I was so happy he did it. And it wasn't... So The Mandalorian has a lot of like the Western feel, whereas you get a lot of that in this, but then he kind of branches out into like this other kinds of music, like when they're in the urban setting, which I forget what the name of that place was, but it sounds, the music kind of takes on a more urban feel. And it's like, man, Ludwig Göransson just really, really doing some work. So
can you sing the melody, the Mandalorian melody? Can you hum it?
Maybe if I was 20 years
I was sitting next to my daughter and she was humming it. Do 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 do.
Yeah, that part I knew. Yeah.
Do 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 do. You know, it's just like two notes, but it fits. It was genius.
So Ludwig's been doing this since season 1 of The Mandalorian, back in 2019, deliberately avoiding, using things like the Imperial March or any other Star Wars feeling titles that he could have at times. So critics, by the way, this time around, this is kind of the one thing they're unanimous on. The music is great. So I'm not exactly walking out on a ledge, but I'm going to say the music. Cody, what else is good?
I do want to say Lance is correct that it was nice to have a Star Wars story that wasn't Skywalker based.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to pigeonhole a character to become Skywalker.
Are you saying that didn't make sense?
It did not make sense. But for me, honestly, the action sequences worked really good for me.
Yeah, the action was great.
So there's times that it kind of felt like I was watching the original Predator movie. At times I felt like Top Gun. At times it felt like something like a couple other movies. And then I'm like, this is distinctly Mandalorian, this moment. And I'm like, I love this.
Yeah.
I need more action.
I thought several times when we were with the X-Wing fighter squadron.
Yeah.
And then you said, the locale they're in. I was like, you know what they need to do? Just give me the literal Top Gun story, but in Star Wars. I mean, the same story.
That would be awesome.
You can even call him Maverick and Goose. I don't care. I want the same story.
Iceman.
I want the same story, but with X-Wings.
I want those people out there who make these AI movies that look so realistic to do that. That would be so awesome.
Couple X-Wing guys. Like,
And they got to do the danger zone, right? No.
One human and then another one who's definitely not human,
Not
being
human.
like, I feel the need for speed. And then later when that non-human one dies, we can have like
It is Disney.
the Tom Cruise one, like
Yeah.
in his tidy whities, and Tom Skerritt, who would just be himself because why not? Even though he's passed on, I'm pretty sure he'd come in and be like, snap out of it. It's been a day, dude.
Hey, this could be the origin story for Poe Dameron.
Yes. Excellent.
That would
like
be
it.
awesome.
What else is good for
Okay,
you?
so I want to see if you've heard of this movie called The Dark Crystal.
I have heard of the
Do
Dark.
you remember that?
We did mention it
We
during
mentioned
a
it
Be
'cause-
Kind Rewind.
Yeah, so we recently Be Kinded Rewinded
Yeah.
Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Which kind of shares the
Yeah.
same space with Dark Crystal.
So The Dark Crystal, I loved it as a kid, but it also gave me nightmares. I'm not going to lie.
That is a common refrain of 80s kids.
Right? And I think that's what's wrong with this generation, okay? They did not have to face the demons that we had to face in the
Yeah.
movies that we were allowed to watch.
Toughen up,
Okay?
kids.
So get some resilience, and that's why I am the man I am. No.
Yeah. Look, sometimes what I want to say to this generation of kids is like, hey, man, it's clear your babysitters didn't force you to watch Nightmare on Elm Street when you were
clear.
8, and it shows.
Wait, okay, side note, my daughter and I, so my daughter's like, who's Sigourney Weaver? I'm like, well, she was in this big movie, Alien. What's that about? Well, you really don't need to watch it. But it was about these aliens coming out of people's stomachs. Ew, that's gross.
Yeah, watch that too young
We're not
as well.
going to watch that. Anyway, so the thing I really loved was when they were on that swamp planet, and they were there for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Which let's face it, most movies, that would have just been a couple of minutes, and then he was back to being good. But they actually, it's like they sat in that, and they allowed that to kind of marinate for a while and let Grogu do his thing without the Mandalorian there to help him out at all. And he got a little bit of help, right? He got a little bit of help from that old swamp, whatever he was that had the fish and everything. But I mean, it was cool that they allowed for that to happen, and it just gave me it felt like the Dark Crystal.
Was that a creature that was the same kind of creature as Sebulba from the Phantom
No,
Menace?
it's not.
Not the same.
It's not
they
at all.
looked similar.
I thought of that when he's sitting down, but it wasn't, because the Sebulba character has big, long arms and really short feet.
Okay.
And this guy had normal kind of. He looked kind of like an alligator man, honestly, because he kind of had scales and stuff. But no, I really liked that feel, that vibe that it had in the swamp, that kind of Dark Crystal kind of.
Yeah, it looked so good.
Yeah,
it
was
looked so
awesome.
good and I thought that while the swamp shots when they pulled back and you could see the Hutt's whole place.
Yeah.
you could tell it's shot for IMAX. Some really
Yeah.
beautiful shots.
Well, and then the humor when he built that little mud hut and then used the force to cram him in, dink, and then he tried again, dink. Let's try one more time. No, dink.
Yeah. Well, once again,
That
you
was the
lead
best.
directly into my next what's good, and I'm just gonna say it. Grogu is so stinking cute,
Isn't he?
man. Oh my goodness!
Oh,
As a grown man, I want to not like him.
Right.
I so badly don't want to like him, but
Yeah.
I can't help it when he does something cute. I just smile.
And-
I
and-
can't. I know.
And it makes up for the name, because the name's still terrible.
Oh, yeah.
I hate the name.
And I know what everyone out there who doesn't like him is saying. It's like, I know I'm being manipulated by corporate greed to sell stuffies and plushies, but I love him anyway.
I love it.
There's no defense.
Yeah.
He gets me every time.
Yeah.
Him and the Anzelians?
Oh, the
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
mechanics.
The mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a little prequelish for me as far as the Jar Jar kind of aspect. And
No, my wife loves them.
No, they're the Men in Black creatures. You know, the ones
Yeah.
who are like, hey,
Yes.
they're like that. Do you know who voiced those little Anzelians?
who's that?
The girl who plays Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
How about that for
Very
trivia?
nice. Yeah.
This is true, as I am looking at her IMDb.
Thank you very much.
Cody, is there anything else you thought was good about the movie?
Honestly, so it had a gladiator feel when we go into that dome to have the fights.
Yep.
Yes.
And
It was a little too close to Attack of the Clones for me, which I don't like. But this, I will say, once we got into it, I was eased a little bit. I was like, okay, this isn't just Attack of the Clones. I feel okay about this.
But you realize what that was, right? The arena. Did you notice it?
we're going to get information that we both missed.
No, tell us.
So next time you watch it, look at the floor, and the floor has these black and white tiles, and it is a real life Dejaric table. You know, in the original movie, A New Hope.
Okay.
And
Yes.
Chewbacca's playing against C-3PO, and they're talking about a Wookiee won't rip your arms off, or droid won't rip your arms off. Okay, so the animals in that table, that picks up and smashes them, those are the real life animals.
Okay, so when the creatures come in, and the one who looks like a big King Kong does this thing after he dispatches one of them, I was like, that looks really familiar.
That's from the original, yes.
Oh my goodness.
It's a real life Dejaric table,
That's wild.
right?
That is so cool.
You need to watch it again now.
Literally, that's Dave Filoni stuff.
Yeah, it is.
That was something that Dave Filoni said, we're going to put our street cred right here.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Anyways, Cody,
Now,
go ahead.
I was just going to say I love that whole sequence, and also it carried out something that, like, oftentimes I think a lot of filmmakers would try to avoid, like, what happens if the safeguards fail? And then these things just go out into the street.
Yeah.
And it happened.
Yeah, we went a little Jurassic Park there.
Yes.
That's right.
Because the barrier, the energy barriers go down at some point, and the creatures all notice it at the same time.
Yeah.
And I like how the Imperial boss guy, his right hand man's like, I think we should go now. Like, yep, you better get out of there. All right, Cody, what's bad? What doesn't go well in this movie?
The critics.
The critics.
Yeah.
You're going to go in on the critics.
I'm going to go in on the critics.
They have nothing to complain about. There's nothing wrong with this movie?
Well, what they complained about's foolish.
Okay, tell me about that.
Okay, so this is like 3 episodes that make up a movie. I heard that like a whole bunch.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
I have the perfect comparison for this that I'll share later.
It felt like a Mandalorian movie that, like, we're just following Grogu and the Mandalorian. This could have been Batman and Robin. It could have been anyone else. And Dave, what movie did we review last week?
Empire Strikes Back.
Wrong. Because when my friend George Lucas redid everything, the first thing you see is episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. George Lucas tells this like it's chapters of an ongoing story. This is Star Wars, buddy. What they're complaining about is Star Wars.
It's Star Wars.
Hey, thank you for embarrassing me. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
No,
Edit that out.
Well, actually, this would be a good time to share what I was going to share. Because
Okay.
I think you're right. What everybody's complaining about isn't the thing you should be complaining about. And what most people are complaining about is something I thought I would have complained about before watching it. And that is this idea that there's no meat to it, that there's nothing really substantial about the characters it's done. It's a fun ride. And the critics aren't wrong about that part, about it just being kind of a long special episode of the series. But I think that actually works. And here's why. The Mandalorian, as Cody was alluding to, is always built as a serial. It's designed to feel episodic. It's designed to have like that adventure of the week kind of feel. So a movie that feels like a great episode isn't really breaking the format of what it is. In fact, all of their advertising makes it seem like an old serial. That's the font they're using, the music they were using in the trailers, like that all fits. It's the format that they were working for. I compare it to Indiana Jones, which is another serial.
Yep.
Another Lucas joint.
Yeah. If The Mandalorian is like Indiana Jones, then the first 3 seasons of The Mandalorian are like it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. You introduce the character, you have essential kind of character defining stuff, and you get a little bit into what makes them tick. Then this movie, if I can be so bold, is their Temple of Doom moment.
Ooh. Temple
of Doom has no real bearing on the characters long term. In fact, the characters that are in it don't even appear again. It is a prequel, in that sense because it's supposed to take place before Raiders, but you never see Willie again. You never see Short Round again. And so it's just kind of a fun ride. It's just, it's a side quest. Now, here's the caveat. The Mandalorian is in a tough spot as far as moving on, and so is Star Wars because of brand damage. When Temple of Doom came out, Indiana Jones had goodwill. They'd just been the one movie. Everyone loved it. They were hungry for more. Give us more. This works. Star Wars doesn't have that luxury right now. They've got a divided fan base. The sequel trilogy is very divisive. You've got actual franchise fatigue going on while this is 7-year theatrical hiatus. If this doesn't fail, which it still could fail, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm like, you bought yourself another movie. The next time we see Mandalorian and Grogu, you better have some real digging into the characters and tell us where this is going. You can't keep Grogu a baby forever.
I was going to say, honestly, they could do this the next 10 years, and I will keep going.
You will keep going.
I will keep going.
But the fandom won't.
Well, they're jabronis.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with this the way they've told this story so far. So I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying I don't know how many times they can get away with this before, even if they're making good stuff. I don't know how long it is until someone's like, where is this going?
Going to the outer limits of the galaxy?
Because Indiana Jones eventually had The Last Crusade.
Yes.
That was the third movie, and that was deep character stuff. You got his dad.
Then they made 2 more.
We don't talk
then
about
you met
that.
his dad. and I don't know what Lance is talking about. I blocked all that out. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to say. Lance, do you have anything that's what's bad? Do you have anything bad to say about this movie?
Well, I said it earlier. Carl Weathers couldn't be in it. That was bad because they do go back, and they go to the planet where he's got his homestead. Navarro. They go to the planet Navarro where he's got the home and everything. And which, by the way, you think you'd have better security. I'm just saying, for somebody who's a bounty hunter, like you're gonna let a dog or like another bounty hunter get up on your roof? What? You got the money, Mando. Like splurge for the extra home security system or something. That was just kind of ridiculous. But yeah, so Carl Weathers, he wasn't in it, and that would have been pretty cool to see him. But
this is a true story. After he passed away, I felt like I wanted to watch something with him in it, but I didn't think I could handle a Rocky movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was kind of sad.
Yeah.
And so I watched Happy Gilmore.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm watching Happy Gilmore, and after Chubbs dies, the character he's playing, he shows up at the end of the movie, and he's like, "It's all right, Happy. I got my hand," and he starts playing the piano and he sings, we've only just begun to live. I started crying.
Oh, wow.
True story. I was like,
you chose poorly.
we've only just begun to live, Chubbs. Okay. What's bad about the movie for me? This one thing here. When the movie shifts into Grogu solo mode, after Mando gets incapacitated, the movie really drags there for me. I thought it drags. So he gets bitten by some creature that has venom. Grogu has to step up and take care of the stuff, which did have the funny little bit of him levitating him back into the hole and hitting his head a bunch of times. But boy, that whole section of the movie really dragged for me. Really dragged. That's all I got. I'm not going to. I'm not going to. I
actually enjoyed that section.
I'm with you. I enjoyed it.
I don't know what it was. I can't. I don't really have any qualifier for that. I just know that was rough.
He actually has something to do, and we're not Mando dependent.
Yeah.
It takes I think maybe there was. It felt like a climactic point in the movie, and then it felt like it let down into this other storyline that we're going to get to, and it becomes good for me as we get farther into it. And I think that might have been part of the problem because I get my deeper theme from that Mandalorian, that Mando moment where
I got mine
he sacrifices himself. So that was me.
We're in 2 different parts of the movie. This is interesting.
What's bad for you? Anything else?
No, I told you I really liked this movie, and honestly, if they wanted to, every 2 years, release a Mandalorian and Grogu sequel movie, I am buying tickets.
Yeah.
See, I think a cool movie would be one that's set 100 years from then, and you get to see Grogu as he's now, he can now talk. Because Yoda could talk at some point.
Right.
It's kind of interesting why Grogu can't talk yet. So it'd be cool to see him as like, I guess he'd be an adolescent if he's only 150 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's actually talking, and there's flashbacks to his adventures with the Mandalorian, because the Mandalorian would be dead, right?
Right.
It's 100 years.
Yes.
That would be kind of a cool movie to actually.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I would enjoy watching that.
But then we would miss out on some serious toy money.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of toys, did you know that this movie is the only box office Star Wars movie to not have a lightsaber in it?
I did notice that.
No lightsaber.
No lightsaber at
No
all.
lightsaber.
There's lightsabers in Solo? Is there?
I think so.
Is there? Okay. I got a couple more things. No big bad. The first 2 seasons of Mandalorian work really well. There was Moff Gideon. He was a clear antagonist that was kind of driving the tension. So I think this movie suffers a little bit from lack of tension in that big bad. I know the Hutts are supposed to be it, and you think it's going to be this coin guy, but then they take him like
he's
halfway through the movie. He's done for. They
toast.
take him into custody, and you're kind of like, okay,
Maybe they're just leaving breadcrumbs for a big bad
maybe
in the future.
Maybe. I think that if this movie doesn't make its money back, like I think if it's a failure, I think that what's bad about it was just the timing. I think there's nothing wrong with the movie. I just think it's the wrong moment. Like imagine this movie comes out like it's a world where it comes out when Solo does. When Star Wars still had a lot of goodwill left. I think this movie would be a hit. I think people would have loved it back then. So those are very situational. I do have a problem with Rada the Hutt's voice. I felt like they just kind of gave up on it. I mean, that's the best we could do. He sounds really human.
Yeah.
Really human.
Yeah.
When all of our experience with Hutts, and
Hutts.
even the other 2 Hutts in the movie are
That's
they're,
true.
They're like that. And he's just like, hey guys.
But
Hey, Rada the Hutt, Rush Chairman, darn glad to meet you. Like, what?
well, okay, but it's the way he was raised.
Maybe.
I mean, come on.
Maybe.
I was going to say, but he's also very different than all the other Hutts. Like, he doesn't want the power. He doesn't want to be like his dad.
I understand that, but he's still a large slug.
I don't disagree with you on that. I'm just saying, like,
It was
maybe
kinda weird.
he's trying to be where, like, there's a generation in America where, like, everyone farms, and then eventually the next generation's like, we're going to the city.
Yeah.
And so everyone talked like the blue collar comedy tour, and then all of a sudden now we're fancy and sophisticated.
Yeah. I bring him up for a reason. I'm going to fix this real quick. In
Okay.
this segment, it's called Recast It. Cody, do you have a recast it? Recast one role to make the movie better.
Pass me. I'll have one.
So Cody didn't do his homework.
Nope.
Lance, do you have a recast it?
I don't have a specific person, but the villain you talked about with the coin guy that was the spy, I felt like he was a little too soft. It would have been cool if he was some like dark British actor who could really bring some evil gravitas to that. He was kind of weak.
Is it weird that the Imperial Warlord you meet for just the beginning intro section was way cooler than him?
Yeah. He seemed like he was a bad dude. I mean, he gunned somebody down in cold blood, and then the coin guy's like, "Have some salt. Let me pay you in salt."
I would recast Rada the Hutt, the voice of Rada the Hutt, and instead of our guy Jeremy Allen White, I'm going with Keith David. Cody's favorite, Keith David.
Yeah.
Not the Arby's guy. Although I did mistake him for the Arby's voice several times.
Completely different guy.
But if you drop in Keith David, this whole character has a different feel to him. Of course, he has one of the most commanding voices in the business. Goliath in Gargoyles, the Arbiter in Halo, Spawn, and 100 other things. He brings like instant gravitas with his voice. Plus, he also was the stepdad in Something About Mary, which I just always remember that movie because he's great in it.
That would have changed. That would have changed Rada the Hutt for sure.
Yeah, just a more more gravitas with the voice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to steal Lance's, but I'm going with Alfred Molina.
Ooh,
because like you really wouldn't be changing the look too much.
Yeah,
but he has been a villain before.
Yeah,
Doc Ock.
Yeah,
that would
absolutely.
be awesome.
All right, it's Deeper Themes, Pastor's Corner. Honestly, there's about halfway through this movie, Cody, I didn't think there was going to be any deeper themes.
Oh, I had already found one.
Okay. But from the story itself or just the Mandalorian kind of lore from the whole thing?
From the story itself, because it's not something Mandalorian or Grogu does or says.
Oh, okay. So for me, I just felt it was kind of shallow. It's a fun ride of a movie, but I didn't think there was much under the surface. Then about 2/3 of the way through, Mando knowingly makes a sacrifice for his son Grogu, his adopted son. And in that moment, it kind of cracked it wide open for me. Din Djarin and Grogu's story has always been built around the way, the creed, the faith, the code of the Mandalorian people. This is the way. That he says it multiple times in the show and, of course, in the movie. It's the refrain of the whole series. And it's easy for religious people to kind of fall into a particular trap. We're being religious. We know this, and Lance as well. We start to think we're defined by the creed, the religion. We're defined by the things that we do for the creed. That following the creed is literally the way. That the rules are the point. But what this sacrifice shows us is what actually is the way. Because the faith structure should always lead to something. It's the legacy is not that you follow the creed or the creed itself. The legacy is what the creed produces. In Christian circles, we would call this fruit. The creed is not the destination, it's the vehicle. And what matters is the relationship we build as we pass along what we've learned. We pass along this religion to our children and our mentees and the people we invest in. So when we teach the people coming after us how to actually use their faith, how to move through life in the best way possible, that is the way. Not in reciting the creed, it's the fruit of it. And so when Din Djarin makes his sacrifice, like he knows he's been poisoned, he sees the ship they came on, understands.
It's hilarious.
I can't fit on that.
Not gonna fit.
He, without saying he's sacrificing himself, he knows darn well he is. Yeah. He says, "Hey, you guys get out of here. I'm gonna lead them away from you." And it's something that, like in a Mandalorian circle, for a Mandalorian who didn't have an actual child, this is an adopted scenario where he says, "I will sacrifice for you." The way produces love, and love is the legacy. That's the whole point, that it's not about the creed, it's about the relationship, because the creed does say, find someone to pass this along to. Am I right about that? That's the point. The relationship is the way. That's the way.
So we're kind of in the same area, which is interesting. Mine is said a lot throughout the movie, but there's one specific moment where it gets a little bit expounded upon. Throughout the movie, you hear, "This is messy."
Yeah.
That is said a ton. Okay, so Rada the Hutt. Life is messy, but we try anyway.
Yeah.
And throughout, you hear about Rada's upbringing, that he's Jabba's son. He doesn't want to be like that Hutt. He doesn't want to be like his twin uncles or whatever. Like, he doesn't want to be like them.
I don't want to be in the family business. I just want to be a volleyball player.
Pretty much. And you know what? Mando, he is constantly trying to help people, trying to do what he's been asked to do, and yet it gets messy, it gets complicated. And for Sigourney Weaver at times, that's a failure whenever it gets too messy. But within our lives, we feel like when things get messy, it's a failure, but we try anyway. And in those moments, we grow and we develop community and we find the way. If we piggyback off of each other, I think we have a complete pastor's corner of life is messy. It's complicated. It's yucky at times. And yet we have these moments where we get connected with someone and we love them and we're willing to do something that is beyond our typical selves.
Yeah. Life is messy, especially relationships can be messy. But in Ecclesiastes, it says it's better for you to be at a funeral than at a party. And the whole idea of that is you don't learn anything at a party. You don't advance as a person at a party. It's only through the tough stuff the funerals, the realizing that life is short and understanding what is worthwhile and what is not worthwhile, where you actually do some learning. This is the way. It's the relationship. It's the tough stuff, the going through life and actually taking risks with your heart. And yeah.
And Rod the Hutt is constantly telling Grogu, like, oh, your dad's one of the good ones. Take care of him.
This is good. That's good stuff.
And
they did. I did. As soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, they did say this is messy a lot. All right, Lance, who's your winner of the movie?
The fans.
The fans, okay.
The Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
Definitely the winners. Because like we all agreed on, it was just a feel-good, you enjoy the ride kind of a movie. You want to get back on it again and enjoy it again. And I think that's the whole reason to make a movie.
I know there's still people out there raving like lunatics, even as we record this. But like, if you're going to complain that the other Star Wars entries have been too political in nature, and then you get this one, which has no whiff of that at all, and it's just a fun adventure, and then you're going to complain about that, I don't know what to do for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. Cody, who's the winner of this movie?
My friend Marty.
Marty Scorsese. Oh
Yes.
my gosh. I needed so much more Marty.
Who is usually very uptight. It was nice to see him like do something that was fun.
Yeah, and he was such a fun character. I wanted more. My winner's Pedro Pascal. He gets to take the helmet off. He gets to actually do his thing on the screen instead of acting from the inside of a bucket, which I know from reports is something that he's had trouble with. He gets the movie star moment that the role builds towards. You know, he gets to sacrifice himself, and he doesn't get the moment where he cries saying goodbye like in Mandalorian Season 2 with the Luke Skywalker appearance. But bigger reason... What? Go ahead.
I was going to say, and he just beats up so many people.
Yes.
I mean, he is just... amazing. I mean, he's like, he can't miss, and he takes on like 20 people at one point and just goes through them like they were nothing.
I'm like, I feel like in the series he was constantly getting his butt kicked.
Yeah.
And now he's like, I can handle everyone for the most part.
Yeah.
But far more, I think the reason he's the winner of this movie is because he's buffered in a lot of ways. So if this movie underperforms, if this movie gets labeled a failure but in any way, it's going to land on Favreau, it's going to land on Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm,
Disney.
Yeah, Disney. It's definitely not going to land on Pedro. Pedro's goodness, and he's one of the most in-demand actors alive anyways right now. So yeah, I think he's the winner of this movie. Lance, do you have a loser of the movie? You love this, so it's okay if you don't.
I don't think so.
Well, I definitely have one.
Cody, who's your loser of the movie?
Movie theaters. Because of the critics and they're complaining, like, A, this was fun. B, like, it was Star Wars. Anything could be a streaming episode. We have proof of that now. Like, all the platforms have straight to streaming movies. And all the platforms, if they do put movies in theaters, it's only like 2 or 3 weeks. Critics need to shut their traps because they're like souring and ruining the water. So like people aren't going to the movies because, well, this critic said it was trash. And it's like, no, don't listen to them. They're a jabroni. I want to have a movie theater experience. This was very much a summer movie. I want to go to the movies during the summer.
I mean, counterpoint. Make stuff, if you're making IP, make it for your fans. Which, like Minecraft. Like, what's Minecraft's Rotten Tomato score? It's pretty low, right? Critics didn't love that movie, but the fans of Minecraft love it. So I think this movie, in a sense, I'm hoping it does better. I'm hoping it has good word of mouth and it actually makes some money, because I want Star Wars creators to see, hey, when you give the fans what they want, when you give them what they want, they'll go see it. They'll give you their money. They want to give you their money. All right. My loser of the movie is Dave Filoni. It's kind of my counterweight to Pedro. Pedro gets to walk away clean no matter what happens. Filoni's the one holding the bag here, because if this doesn't do well, this is technically the post-Kathleen Kennedy era from the fans' perspective. Now, the timing of this is wonky because Kennedy announced her departure in January 2026, and Filoni officially took over as president and chief creative officer of Lucasfilm But Kennedy's name is still on this movie as the producer, the executive producer in charge, and next year's Starfighter as well.
Which I'm excited about that.
So
my.
These are technically Kennedy era holdovers still, and so Filoni may get a lot of the baggage if they don't do well, maybe more than he deserves. So, and Dave Filoni, as far as Star Wars fans go, he's like the chosen one. He's a Lucas protege. He's the one everybody wanted. So, I'm hopeful that it doesn't happen, but he's the one holding the bag here. So, yeah, Cody, how many plushies out of 10? Are you going to give the Mandalorian and Grogu? Plushies, man. Like Grogu, because they sell a lot of Grogu plushies.
Yeah, I have one.
Stuffies?
Probably a solid 8.
8? Yeah. Okay. Lance, what are you giving this movie?
Man, I really feel like I need to watch it again to give an honest reading because it just flew by so fast. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay. I'm going to go 7.5. I think it's a good movie.
If I went on my summer movie scale, it would be a 9.5. But just overall movie experience, I'm going 8.
Well, I think for a summer movie, it works great. A summer Memorial Day weekend kind of movie, I think it works great. Like it's a fun ride, and I had fun doing it. So 7.5, that's a good score for me. Did you rank the all the Star Wars theatrical movies? Just real quick. Go ahead and bust through yours, Lance.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Or would you rather I go first?
No, I'll go first. I'll do it. Now, I didn't put Mandalorian Grogu in here, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
I haven't put that yet.
All right. We'll slot it in.
You want me to slot it in?
Yeah, slot it in where you'd put it.
Okay. All right. Number 1, Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. Number 2, Rogue One.
Oh, wow.
Number 3, A New Hope.
All right.
Number 4, Return of the Jedi. And then I would put in Mandalorian Grogu right after that.
Okay.
So I guess it would be number 5. So then next on my list is Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And I have reasons for all these, by the way, but I'm not going to go into it. And then the next one's going to be Solo. The next one's going to be Episode 7, Force Awakens. The next one's Episode 1, Phantom Menace. Next one is Episode 8, Last Jedi. Then Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. And my least favorite of all the Star Wars movies, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. I will say I've seen every single one of these in the theater, and many of them on opening night. Number 1, Empire Strikes Back.
Classic.
To me, it's by far the best movie. Well, actually, the top 2, I think, for me. Return of the Jedi is number 2.
Okay.
I think you can really tell the influence of other people's hands on those movies other than George Lucas. Or alongside Lucas. They feel like super, super sincere and authentic to me. Number 3, Revenge of the Sith, which is going to be a surprise to many people, but
that was a surprise to me.
I think younger people are right about it. I think that's a pretty darn good movie, and you get a lot of like really iconic fights in that movie, including the big Obi-Wan Anakin scene.
I have the high ground.
Yeah. Number 4 would be Episode 4, A New Hope. For me, that's where I'd slot in the original. Number 5, Rogue One, because I do agree it's a good movie. For me, it's just hard to get past because Star Wars is episodic, but also always an ongoing story. It's hard for me to get into a story when I know all these characters are going to die.
That's the best part. No, it is. That's the best part. It's like it's so un-Star Wars. It's like they sacrifice themselves for the cause.
I know, it's super distracting.
I love it.
I know. It's just super distracting to me.
I am one with the Force.
Number 6.
The Force is with me.
Number 6, I have The Last Jedi. I think we've talked about it many times. I think The Last Jedi gets way too much hate. Number 7, The Force Awakens, the movie that happened right before The Last Jedi. Number 8, The Phantom Menace. Then I would put in number 9, Mandalorian and Grogu. But not
What? I'm out.
Let me finish. Not because I think all these movies are good. I like all these movies. Now let's get into the bottom 3 that I don't think are good movies. Number 10, Solo.
What? You haven't even seen it, Cody.
Number 11, Attack of the Clones is just really, really bad.
So bad.
It is.
And the worst, number 12, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, it's not good.
I may never watch it again unless the viewers demand it as a Be Kind Rewind because I saw it once in the theater and I was so angry. I don't know if I could ever watch it again.
What I took from that one is if you rubbed elbows with Luke and Leia, you too can be a Skywalker.
All right, Lance, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for
bringing
having
your
me.
Star Wars fandom and your Mandalorian helmet that's
My
been sitting
pleasure.
here the whole time.
Yes.
I am so jealous.
Yeah. What did you guys think of The Mandalorian and Grogu? Did you like it as much as we did? Lowest score on the table, 7.5 out of 10. That's pretty good.
That is.
Let us know on the post, the social media post for this episode, and make sure and subscribe, do all that stuff, follow us, rate us, and we'll see you next time. All right, Lance, you said that you had like a thesis. You have a thesis.
I do.
On why the Mandalorian creed is very Christian.
So I think my idea is that it's so appealing. The Mandalorian culture is so appealing for a couple of reasons. Number one, it makes you think of knights in the medieval.
Okay.
And the honor and all that is involved with that kind of culture. I mean, they even have helmets and armor and all that kind of stuff. But beyond that, you have this Christian theme running through the whole culture. And I've got 4 things, right? So the first one, anybody can be a Mandalorian, right? It's not based on your blood. It's not based on your race. It's not based on what planet you're from. Anybody can buy in and be a Mandalorian, right? You just have to take the creed.
Because Din Djarin wasn't from Mandalore.
He was a foundling.
Yeah.
Like he was rescued by Mandalorians.
He was an orphan.
He was
literally an orphan.
Yeah, he was adopted, right?
Okay.
And so as believers, we are adopted into the kingdom, right?
Yeah.
Number 2, they say this is the way all the time. We talked about that, right? I mean, what kind of, that's a biblical reference when you think about it, right? John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Not only that, but there's several verses in Acts.
In Acts, Luke talks
that
about
refers to the early church as the way.
Is the way. That's what they call the early church.
The people of the way.
The people of the way. Yes, absolutely, which is so cool. Number 3, to be redeemed as a Mandalorian. When Din Djarin fell from grace, removed his helmet, right? What was the only way that he could be redeemed from being an apostate? He had to bathe in living waters of the mines of Mandalore.
Yep.
He had to bathe in the living. What does that sound like?
Baptism.
Baptism.
Yeah.
Right? He was baptized, and then he became Mandalorian once again. And then finally, weapons are their religion, right? Think about Ephesians 6 when it talks about putting on the full armor of God, right? Weapons are the religion, right? The sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. And that's our, so the Bible is our weapon as believers. Yeah. And so, there's all these cool cross references to the Christian culture, which I think, in American Western culture, obviously there's so much of that ingrained in our culture and the basis for our country to begin with, that it just kind of, I don't know, it's just appealing.
So I don't know if you'll know this or not. Maybe you do, but who is the person who gets the credit for coming up with a lot of this Mandalorian lore? Because probably not necessarily Lucas, is it? Because Boba Fett is in the original trilogy for 2
Boba
minutes.
Fett wasn't even he was supposed to be a super trooper. You know that the original armor. Like if you go search videos and Ben Burt's, he's showing this Boba Fett, but originally that armor they were going to build a whole bunch, like hundreds of these suits, and they were going to be super stormtroopers, basically.
Just like an elite group.
Yeah, like an elite group of stormtroopers, and then they're like, "No, this is too much trouble." And then they're like, "We've got this armor. Why don't we make him a bounty hunter?" Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
So, but I should know that. I don't know. Where does the Mandalorian culture
Because it would be interesting to know who comes up with the bulk of the Mandalorian lore. Because you're right. There's all these connections that you could just say, well, they're just connected to any creed religious structure. But then there are things that are kind of overtly Christian that can only be that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend Jon Favreau has a huge hand in some of that background stuff. So.
Really?
I think Favreau I think he's a believer.
So he came up with a lot of that just for the show The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Interesting stuff. Okay. Well, that's good stuff, man. I didn't know any of that.
Yes. I love this series. Love the movie. If you haven't watched the series, go watch it. I don't know why you listen to this podcast episode if you haven't.
I mean, I love that you're just going to call people idiots. Listeners, like, you morons.
I don't think he said
you
idiot.
doing?
He kind of insinuated
He
it.
said it with his looks, Lance. He said it with his looks.